Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SA Accounting Academy. Here's a short clip on one of our previous webinars. I hope that you really do enjoy it.
Good morning ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to the monthly compliance and legislation update for July 2019. As you see on the screen, my name is Lettie Janse van Vuuren and I will be your facilitator for the next 2 hours. So let's then look at the agenda for today as we start with the accounting items. We've only got one item, so that's our regular IFRS monthly news summary. And really there's nothing mind-blowing in it. Remember with the IFRS updates, I'm not too interested in them saying, oh, we want to change something. Because if they want to change something now, it's probably only going to be effective in about 5 years from now. So I'm not going to stress you guys about things that are not in effect or not coming soon. All right. If there's big changes, of course, I'll tell you about it. But for today, I don't think there's anything. There's one maybe interesting item in there. All right. So then under auditing and other assurance services, we've got 6 items this month, and we've got quite a lot from the Urbis side. They've been very quiet of late, and they definitely caught up. All right. Under company secretarial, we've got 2 CIPC notices and then just the company's tribunal cases. Under employment law, I found an interesting article there about between COIDA and domestic workers. And the other one we will look at when we get there. It's just a little case law for you. Right. Other laws and regulations, we'll be looking at the big 5, but the one we will be looking at in a little bit more detail will be the broad-based Black economic empowerment amendments that they made, right, to the code. So we'll have a look at that. Under taxation, really not a lot this month if you consider what we've had in the past. We've averaged thereabouts in the latter part of the half, September, October, we run about 16, 17 items every month. But this month only 6, right. Under regulator news, a whopping 20 items, and that's because the FSCA went a little piggy on themselves, and they issued 7 press releases as well as 7 warnings. Right, so the 7 press releases, some of them are short and sweet, well, all of them actually, but I think we need to know about it, all right, it affects all of us. And under regulator news also, I found nice articles. I found on Urba's website something about the tax practitioners that's very interesting. So I've included that for you guys as well under the SARS update. And then under general announcements, we've just got 1 item this month. We're going to be looking at how people increasingly use WhatsApp for business purposes. Right. So let's get straight into the accounting update. And let's start with our IFRS monthly news summary. So this is the update for June. And the first item deals with strengthening the relevance of financial reporting. Right now, with this, there's just the chair of the board, Hans Hogevorst. He delivered a keynote speech at the IFRS Foundation conference in London, which was held. And he then basically just laid down the board's plans. He said what they were going to do to help companies strengthen their financial reporting, and that's got to be done by improving the structure and the content of the primary financial statements. You'll remember that the IASB has been busy working on the primary financial statements and amendments to it for a very long time. It is an ongoing process. But what they also will be doing is they'll be providing more useful information by way of management commentary. Right. So I'm looking forward to that. All the guidance, I welcome guidance from everywhere. The second topic deals with digitalization, economics, and financial reporting. The Chair of Trustees delivered a speech at the Eurofiling conference that was held in Frankfurt. And he discussed whether the digitalization will actually increase productivity in the global economy and what the IFRS Foundation's own digital transformation looks like. Because I think all of us can feel it. You know, we've got the ability to actually go live into our clients' records without having to go and pull physical files when we want to go and inspect documents and stuff like that. So the capabilities are there. We've got to adapt, but to the environment. Okay, the third topic looks at the IASB consulting on amendments to aid implementation of IFRS 17. Now, they're always busy supporting implementation. Remember, IFRS 17 deals with insurance contracts. And they have proposed certain amendments to that for public consultation. And the amendments really want to reduce the costs of implementing the standard. So, but it's a very specialized one, so I wouldn't want to spend too much time on that. Then the meeting of the IFRS Foundation's trustees in Munich, they had on the 25th to the 27th of June. And the recordings from the Due Process Oversight Committee are absolutely available. And they are responsible for overseeing the due process procedures of the board, as well as the Interpretations Committee. Then our fifth item on the agenda, or of the summary this month, is the podcast for the June IASB meeting is now out, right? The IASB, they discuss the latest decisions and developments and whatnot. There's a webcast, and this might be the only item where I would suggest that you spend time on. It's a webcast where their staff members actually explain the conclusions that were reached by the IFRS Interpretations Committee. And that's in the recently published agenda decision on overtime transfer of constructed good. Right. So that deals with borrowing costs and revenue recognition specifically. But they deal there very specifically on the decision on overtime transfer of a constructed good. Right. So if you want to, that's on the IFRS website, you'll find the links. The European Commission then also requires electronic tagging of financial statements using the IFRS taxonomy. Okay, so the tagging is there. And all the files, the financial years, and that's for years that start on or after the 1st of Jan 2020. And this is only for listed companies. If they prepare their consolidated financials using IFRS, they would be required to tag their primary financial statements electronically using the IFRS taxonomy. Right. And there's lots of background available on the IFAC website, on the IFRS Foundation website, surrounding all this taxonomy. There's loads of items. Right, so then the IFRS Taxonomy 2018 is now available in Ukrainian. That's just the language, right? And then the ninth item and final item there, the Capital Markets Advisory Committee, the CMAC, CMAC as they call themselves, they are looking for new candidates to join for a term of 3 years. And they'll start next year on the 1st of Jan 2020, and that'll be for 3 years, renewable for a further 3 years. So if you need to have any documentation further than this, please feel free to go onto the IFRS website. You'll find it there. Okay. Let's get stuck into our auditing and other assurance services update. Slightly longer than it is every month. The first one deals with a SAICA guide that was issued on the summary of changes to the IFAC guide. Now, the IFAC issued a guide on how to use ISAs and how to apply the ISAs. Now, why SAICA did this is they've looked at this and said, okay, so we've got the IFAC guide using ISAs at this stage. Let's have a look at how the SMPs, the small and medium practices, use this IFAC guide in the audits of small practices. So how do they apply ISAs while auditing the smaller clientele? So this helps with SAICA members who are auditors and assurance practitioners, as well as their support staff, and it includes everybody, right? Even the engagement quality control reviewers, on how to apply the IFAC code and the guide to the audits of small and medium enterprises. Right. It consists of 2 volumes. There's volume 1 and then there's volume 2. Now I've got the guide available for you. What I would just like you to focus on first is volume 1 deals with core concepts. Both volumes are only 16 pages long, so it's really not that much. Right, it really isn't that big, but we've got the summary of changes volume 1, and then we've got the summary of changes volume 2. So the volume 2 then deals with the practical guidance. So I would be focusing on both both of these if I were you, right? Because it literally, you need to know what the concepts, the core concept changes are, but you also want to know how to apply it practically.
I hope that you enjoyed that video. For more of our webinar videos, go to www.accountingacademy.co.za. Thank you and have a lovely day.